everyone. Welcome to the ninth episode of Telecom Talk Show. Today we have Tane Singh Thakur, who is the Chief Editor of Telecom Talk, and I am myself Tarun. Today we'll be understanding what 5G is in 2022. And Tane, can you just walk us through what exactly 5G is?
So, hey Tarun, first of all, Happy New Year to you and a Happy New Year to everyone who's watching this video right now or listening to it on Spotify. So, before understanding where India is with its 5G goals, let's just go over what 5G really is. So, 5G is the upgrade over 4G. It's the latest wireless standard for mobile connectivity. But while people understand that, they don't understand why it is an upgrade and how it is an upgrade. So let me just tell you what is possible with 5G. 5G can deliver 100 times more speed than what a 4G network can. 5G can enable the use of higher spectrum frequencies, and then 5G can bring new use cases to life that we have never seen before. So in a basic gist, 5G is a network technology that stands to change the way we connect virtually. Even not just us, but also how the machines connect with each other, how IoT, a massive IoT would become a very big thing with 5G coming into reality. And this should all happen within 1 year. And so that is basically what 5G is.
So, Tane, what is the current status of 5G in India? Like, when can everyone can expect 5G to go live? Although, like DOT have already said that 5G would be going live in certain cities, like I think if I'm not wrong, around 13 cities. So, what's the current status right now?
So Tarun, the current status is the telecom operators are currently testing 5G, and they are coming up with new use cases every day. And there are certain announcements, be it Airtel, be it Vodafone Idea. There have been less from Reliance Jio. Cannot figure out why. But the 5G trials are ongoing. Then there's TRAI, which is the regulator for the sector, that is trying to come up with a fresh base pricing for the spectrum frequencies that will be used in 5G. And then there's even SATCOM, right? Even SATCOM industry doesn't want the spectrum to be auctioned. They want it to be allocated in an administrative manner. So that is an issue that needs to be addressed. Talking about where the 5G will come, why it will come to only 13 cities. The reason is, these are the cities where the trials are currently happening, and these are the cities where even the telcos would be able to recover their costs much faster, because there are not a lot of Indians who own 5G smartphones right now, and then to go to a level 2, tier 2 or tier 3 city where even even the population is very less. So telcos won't get the chance to earn back their investments very fast. So they are strategically moving with their 5G rollout, and the major cities where the trials are currently happening, they should get 5G first.
So Tane, how are the charges going to be for let's say that when we had 3G, the pricing game was different, and when it comes to 4G, the pricing game was altogether a different scenario. When it comes to 5G, what are the prices? Is it going to be really affordable for the end consumers, or it's going to be very pricey? Like, what do you see? Like, although we know that the network rollout, it's going to cost a lot of money. What do you think that our operators going to go and play with a cheaper tariff for 5G, or is it altogether going to be they're going to be targeting the enterprise market more?
So Tarun, the thing is, it's too early to say how the pricing for the 5G services would look like. But there's one thing, and in my opinion, 5G would involve the use of data at a much higher scale. It's not just the normal consumers, but also the enterprises would be using data at a much higher, scale. So the speed of 1 GB, sorry, the speed of consuming 1 GB of data would be different with 5G than it is with 4G. So, if you're a normal consumer, you're watching a video, 1 GB data would be gone in a few minutes. So the data rates cannot be what they are right now. So we might see an entire new structure for tariffs, And what that structure is, again, it's too early to comment on it, but the pricing model won't be the same as it is right now. It might not be too expensive the way people assume it would be, but it might come with entire different set of benefits.
So, Tanay, thanks for a good insight. But what I want to know exactly is that, like, uh, is it really gonna make a difference when it comes to 5G, like for users, like because most of the users, like the end consumers I'm talking about, they are more inclined towards like watching YouTube video that works perfectly fine on a broadband network as well as on a 4G. It's not like we can even in YouTube, if we want, we can even set the viewing quality which consumes less data and it doesn't buffer. And when it comes to like normal people, they are more inclined towards WhatsApp or audio call and also, but all these things work perfectly fine on a 4G network. But still, do you think end consumers would be going for a 5G thing? Like, what's your scenario?
Oh, so Tarun, that is an interesting question. So this is what we have said before as well. 5G, it's not something that a normal consumer desperately needs. If we were in the 3G phase, we would be talking about why we need 4G, right? As a normal consumer. But with 5G, I don't think we need it that much, because a good 4G network can help a user survive, not just survive, live comfortably with his or her data needs. But with 5G, it's more of a B2B play, because enterprises right now, they would require things such as private 5G networks, network slicing, and all of these are only possible with 5G. A normal consumer like you and me, if we are getting 70 Mbps or 80 Mbps speed with a 4G network, I mean, that is more than enough, right? But with 5G, that is going to be around 200 Mbps, 300 Mbps. But what difference does that make for us? Like, as an end consumer, even if I'm watching a video at 4K, I can do it with a good 4G network. I don't require 5G for that. So, 5G is something that telcos would have to think very differently here, because they cannot just offer data and voice calling and SMS benefits simply like the way they do with 4G, because the entire use and application of 5G networks would be different. And talking about the real use of 5G initially, I believe that enterprises require it more than the normal consumers. But then there are some people who believe that 5G networks would involve much higher capacity handling. So, like the network congestion that we face with 4G networks, that is because of lower network capacity, which the 4G networks have. But this won't be an issue with 5G, because 5G comes with a much, much higher capacity of holding traffic and all. So, that is something that a lot of people would benefit from. If you're a consumer, I don't think speed would make a lot of difference for you with 5G if you're getting good 4G speeds as well. But the network capacity and the network congestion, which ruins your network experience, that would be a big change with 5G, and it would be a positive one.
So, Tane, you were one among the few select people in India to experience Vodafone 5G. So,
Right.
can you just walk us through, in short, like what exactly they showcased you? Like, what was the speed that you happened to experience it? Like,
So
if you
Tarun,
can brief.
yeah. So Tarun, Vodafone Idea has been conducting 5G trials with Nokia and Ericsson in different parts of the country. In Pune, the major partner for Vodafone Idea is Ericsson, and with Nokia, the company is trialing its 5G networks in Gandhinagar, which is in Ahmedabad. So we got to visit Pune. I cannot disclose the uh, location of the hotel where we saw it, but yeah, so we got to see multiple use cases that 5G networks can bring to life directly into application, right? So I saw things such as remote learning, smart factories, how it would make a uh, normal experience more safer for citizens of India, right? And then there are other applications such as cloud gaming and all, even smart healthcare. We got to see all of it. Just in terms of speed, there was a speed test that we got to see, a live speed test, which we asked them to repeat again and again, so that we can see the uniformity of the test. So they were definitely using millimeter wave spectrum, which is mm wave in short, and they confirmed that the a small cell was inside the hotel itself, which was delivering the network speed. And then there was a testing device from Qualcomm, and when tested, the average speed was coming around 4 Gbps download speed, and the average upload speed was near about 200 Mbps. So this is something that we got to experience, and it's actually unreal because in a mobile network, even through broadband, we haven't seen anything more than 1 Gbps, right? So seeing 4 Gbps speed coming to life, and I mean that was a different experience altogether. And then also, the power of 5G networks fueling those new 5G use cases that Vodafone Idea has brought to life with its different partners such as Nokia, Ericsson, Ethernet, Tweak Labs, and drones, usage of drones for delivering with 5G. So all of these use cases were there, and we could see the demonstration live of it. And that was exciting, and it was something positive. Even you were there, Tarun. What do you think? What was your first experience like?
It was pretty good, Tane. Like what they showcased, just like the best part. What I liked about the entire experience was like how technology, like Vodafone, was able to utilize the startup, and how they were able to make the best use of 5G. Even they showcased us how, like, even in mining, that was really amazing. It could literally create a virtual map kind of thing, and then people can even see in real time. Because what matters in when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to mining and all these enterprise things, the ping rate, like the ping rate was like hardly nothing. Like it was pretty less, which means that there is no buffering, there is like there even there is no lag, and entire thing is on wireless. So you can imagine like the kind of quality of speed it's going to be. But Tane, I just want to ask you one thing over here. Like, so whatever the use case that they showcase, like be it the drone thing, be it the gaming thing, be it the healthcare, all these things were actually meant for the enterprise segment. If you understand, like, right, like everything was made for the enterprise. Like cloud gaming, you can say that it's for the end consumers, because the fact that the ping rate is very less, right? Like even Airtel tend to show a demo like during a virtual event, like even you attended that, like some of the top
Yeah.
gamers in India. So as far as I have seen, like with 5G for consumers, it's gonna good for gamers, but rest of the things, like be it movie download and all those things, I think that's totally fine with even our normal 4G and broadband network, is what like what I believe. But because that is not going to make any difference when 5G comes into picture. But when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to drone, when it comes to like even there was one startup which was into sports. Tani, can you just explain what exactly was that thing, like how they utilize the 5G thing? And it was a pretty it was a game of cricket. They can analyze something, right? Can you just explain what exactly you saw there?
So Tarun, that was a startup from Tweak Labs, right? That company is called Tweak Labs, and it has partnered with Vodafone Idea to test the power of 5G networks. Vodafone Idea got an ideal partner because it was a analytics tool. So this company Tweak Labs, what it does is it provides a cricketer, a fast bowler with a suit, bodysuit, and then there are a lot of sensors put in that bodysuit. So what that fast bowler does is he just goes, takes his run up, and then bowls a normal delivery like he's supposed to. But this time, what really happens is all of the data that has been generated, like right from the start of his run up to the delivery and after the follow through, which is after delivering the ball, the bowler runs for a small period, and that is called the follow through. So all of the data that is generated is gone to the software from Tweak Labs, and that happens in real time. So this is something that is possible with 5G. At least that is what they told us. But from what I know,
But
there's a
I think
software
that
like
technology still works with 4G also, right? Like
yes,
it
it
still
does,
works.
it does. But the thing with 5G is, it gives you real time feedback, right? So if you've bowled a ball already, then what it'll do is, it without any delays and anything, it will just deliver all that data to your mobile app. So after you've done delivering the ball, you can go back to your smartphone, you can check for the data that has been generated, and you can correct your mistakes or whatever you have been trying to do in the very next ball. You don't have to wait for anything, and you can be assured that the data that has been collected is accurate, because there's no issue with the latency, there's no issue with the data throughput and anything like that.
Tanya, I just want to add up like the about the healthcare sector that what they
Yeah.
showcase, like the remote healthcare thing. Like I just want to tell our viewers and people who are listening on Spotify. So what we tend to saw was that like in the healthcare system, there was this doctor who was sitting remotely. They happened to wear one glove kind of thing, and they can actually see remotely like what exactly the patient is going through. What are the I think Tane, they were also showing the vital stats also, right, of the
Yeah,
patients.
true. Yeah, it was a sonography thing, right? That was
Yeah, yeah,
being done
yeah.
live, real
So
time.
the
Yeah.
doctor was able to see, and I think he can also sense it with that gloves, right? Like, matlab, if I'm not wrong, right? Like,
Yeah,
or is
yeah,
it?
yeah. They can control it because it's all
Yeah, they can.
real-time communication between the devices and
Right.
the data,
So
right?
the doctor was sitting remotely somewhere, and the patient was sitting somewhere else. But how it's going to be groundbreaking is that, like in remote villages, like they will get access to uh, a
Quality
better
health.
quality healthcare system. That's gonna be really a game changer in the current scenario. But
Yeah,
I don't know how they're gonna mitigate the cost of it, because obviously implementing 5G is not at all something. It's very expensive thing. But
yeah,
I hope things change over the period of time. That was something pretty interesting. And I believe like we even Geo and Airtel would definitely have some certain technology partners who would be definitely be working around something similar over the period of time. But we don't know what exactly Geo is doing. They are still very silent on all their things. Although Airtel has showcased like some of the speed test results, what was happening in Mumbai and a couple of other places. There were a lot of news that came out in the media, and they even showcased the online gaming. And then there are a couple of other use cases. Tanya, do you remember any of the use cases that you happen to read? I think you did some story also, I guess, if I'm not wrong.
yeah. So
Any
there are a lot of use cases, right? So one was a smart healthcare, which you just described, and then another one was cloud gaming that we also got to see live. And there was remote learning. So
Mhm.
with remote learning, I could see that people can just wear VR headgears, and then they can experience the class sitting from their home, whether it's 200 kilometers away or whether it's 2000 kilometers away. They can just experience that class right through their VR glass. So even when I was moving my head left and right, I was able to see the entire classroom. So that was something like I was sitting inside that classroom despite not sitting there. So that is a good thing, because it would enable quality education in remote areas of the country. And then there was what smart factories, right? So smart factory was again another groundbreaking experience for me to actually see, because until because sorry sorry because until now augmented reality is something that I have only seen in movies, or I've just heard about it. But being there on the testing site, right, I got to see the real time application of augmented reality using 5G networks. So with that smart factory thing that I got to experience, a person can just wear this augmented reality glasses, AR glasses, and they can walk through the entire working site, construction site, like I did. So if you're looking down, you'll be able to see if there's a hole, you'll be able to see inside that hole. If there
So
are rooms.
they can see the progress, right? Like the real time because you happen to wear that
Yeah,
AR thing,
yeah,
so
yeah,
they can
yeah,
see the
yeah.
progress.
Yeah. So all of that was real time, right? The image that was in front of me, that was being generated real time. So if there's a fire there, or if there's a sort of accident, right? So the higher level employee, he doesn't need to walk inside the factory to guide their workforce. what they can do is they can just connect on call, and then this higher level employee can just walk through the entire factory using that AR glass, and he or she can guide his or her workforce appropriately during those events. And then there was another use case which was for safety and security. So it was being done using a 4G 4K camera, right? And what that camera could do was it had a few sensors inside it, and it could deliver real-time information or feedback back to the security team, whether if someone was crossing an area or a digital line that was not supposed to cross. So these are the few use cases that I remember, and all of these are very exciting if they are they come into fruition in 2022 itself.
5G is definitely a future technology, that's for sure. Like it's going to be more wireless, and currently people are depending, the enterprise people are depending on wired broadband and all. But 5G is definitely going to be a game changer. But I think it still need to evolve. Like we cannot judge everything right away, because right now whatever we saw, it was on a restricted environment. So maybe we don't know like what's going to happen when there is a huge demand, like when there are a lot of people on real time basis accessing the same network. So Tanya, what do you think? Like it's too early for us to determine, right? Like that the use cases are pretty good, but when it comes to speed and all, like it's too early to uh, say, right? Like it's gonna be a classy thing.
Yeah, so Tarun, you're right actually there. So it's too early to say what the kind of experience that an end consumer would get with his or her 5G network, right? Because there was a lot of hype with 4G networks as well, right? True 4G and all. So, but nothing of that sort happened. But see, there are theoretical proves that 5G would enable more capacity. This is a good thing, and just on the basis of that, we can assume that 5G experience for the users would be much better. I know that 4.2 Gbps speed is unreal to be delivered to a mass of people, because again it involves mm wave spectrum, so that is an entirely different issue. Mm wave spectrum is not for everyone to consume. That would be, I believe, only reserved for enterprises, because it involves a lot of cost for the telcos to ever be able to recover from the normal consumers. So I believe we will face, not just face, will experience 5G using the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum mostly, and then the lower range of spectrum, which is in the 1800 900 megahertz for expanding the coverage. So all of these frequency bands, they cannot deliver Gbps speeds, but yeah, after it's divided between masses, I believe we should able to see 200 Mbps maybe. That is what I believe.
So Tanya, we forgot to touch this 5GI topic. So what exactly is the
Hmm.
5GI topic? Can you just explain to our listeners?
Right. So Tarun, India came up with its own 5G standard, and that was the research behind this was done by TSDSI, right? And they named it 5GI, the standard for 5G in India. So what TSDSI was saying that we don't need to go with the 5G standard of 3GPP. We'll go with the 5G standard because it would enhance rural connectivity. But after the time all the certifications was done, the technology was overseen properly, the experts said that 5G did not really bring any major benefit to the table against 3GPP's 5G standard. But at the same time, it involved a higher cost for the telcos to deploy networks. It would have meant that smartphone manufacturers would need to tailor their smartphones specifically for 5G connectivity in India. So that would create scale manufacturing problems, which would again result in higher costs for the smartphone manufacturers. And then what it would have done was it would have locked India outside of the 5G ecosystem of the world. Why would this happen is, say you are a 5G smartphone user in India and now your smartphone only supports 5G standard. So you go to US for a vacation or work related thing. Now you cannot connect your smartphone to a 5G network over there because it supports 5G, right? It does not support 3GPP's 5G, and whereas the whole world is going with 3GPP's 5G standard. So that is something that was is scary to even assume. So what really happened was a merger between 5GI and 3GPP was announced recently, and it was made official by a 3GPP statement that 5GI would be merged inside 3GPP. So there are a few things that TSDSI has to do in respects with meeting the conditions of this merger, and then yeah, it would just mean that India would again go ahead with 3GPP's 5G standard only, because 5G got merged inside 3GPP as it did not really have any standalone benefit against 3GPP's 5G.
So Tane, so what are you trying to say? So whatever the research, what these people were doing, was it very fruitful, or it really didn't come out in a pretty good manner? Like,
So Tarun, there are two ways we can look into this. A, the intention was right behind the research. They just wanted India to have a secure 5G network, right? So that is why they were saying that we'll go with a 5GI standard. But what it was really doing was, it was just increasing the cost of network deployment, smartphones, and it would have meant that end consumers would be receiving all these services at a very higher cost. So while it did not come as a useful tool for India, but this is sort of a small win, because it's again not being rejected totally. It's going to merge inside 5G from 3GPP. So yeah, that could be looked as a positive, but it did not really bring a lot of great results for India. But the intention behind it was good already.
okay. So Tane, what about this 5G smartphone market? Like, so we gonna see 5G in coming months, or maybe by end of this year, at least in certain cities. Like, what about this device ecosystem? Like, is it really worth spending so much money on a new 5G handset? Like, although most of the smartphones coming in the market are actually 5G handsets, but is it still worth going for a premium 5G device, although there is no network, nothing?
So
So,
Tarun,
what do you
I
think?
so Tarun, I'll answer this
And like
in
I said, this
yeah.
5G is not going to be available across the cities. So, is it
So
really
I'll
worth
answer
going?
this again with two perspectives. Okay, the first from the perspective of a consumer, and then from the perspective of a telecom operator. So from the perspective of a consumer, right? If you're thinking of purchasing a new smartphone, and if you're someone who uses his or her smartphone for at least 3 years or 4 years, which is the basic usage of any smartphone, so if you're spending money on a flagship device, ensure that you're purchasing a 5G one, because I mean any flagship device today comes with 5G support as well. So there's no issues there. But even if you're spending somewhere around 20K or 25K, instead of going for a completely 4G supportive device, I would suggest that go for a 5G supported device, because this would secure your future and make you mentally free, that you don't need to worry about 5G network coming to your place and not having a 5G smartphone there. But as a consumer, you're not going to need 5G much if you're getting a good 4G coverage, but it's still better to invest on a 5G smartphone at this year. Okay, and not talking about from the perspective of a telecom operator, what I believe is the telcos are really happy that people are spending more money and getting 5G devices. Even the smartphone manufacturers are coming out with more and more 5G devices, right? And there are already millions of consumers who own 5G devices in India. So why would the telcos be happier? This is because before they have rolled out the network services, their market is getting ready, so that they can just maximize their revenues as fast as possible. With what happened with 4G and 3G was, first telcos had to roll out network services, then they had to wait for the smartphone proliferation to happen. Like with 4G, that happened, right? Geo literally proliferated the presence of VoLTE supported devices. Before that, the presence of VoLTE devices were very low, and even not a lot of people used 4G supported smartphones. So, the telcos would make these big investments, and then they would wait for a long time before the market is ready. Then they would have to educate about the power of the next generation network. So all of this involved, first of all, education cost, education to the consumers, of course, and then time cost, because the telcos had really invested crores and crores of rupees into building these networks, and they had to wait for getting their investment back. But with 5G, they are getting a ready market, right? They have not even rolled out network services yet, and just because there's a lot of hype, there are millions of consumers already living in tier 1 cities, metro cities, who own 5G smartphones. So, as soon as 5G comes out, the telcos would have ready customers, not just in the form of enterprises, but also the normal consumers. So that is something that the telcos would be really happy about, and it is the first time such sort of thing has happened.
Okay, Tane, thanks for the great insight. I think we have almost covered most of the things what exactly
Uh,
consumers would look for and readers would love to listen. Thank you everyone for listening on Spotify and people who are watching on YouTube. Thanks for all the feedback. Do write to Tane or do share any feedback or anything personally to me also. Like we are always here improving. We are also reading all your mails also. Thank you so much. And very happy new year to everyone and stay safe guys. Take care.